Alright guys, welcome to the week 3 discussion. This is our fast food case study. This is where we're going to do a performance analysis. Before we get into that, let's do our week 2 discussion recap. So basically what you guys found are there's a lot of the roles and responsibilities between these two different professions, HPT and instructional design, are very similar, yet there are differences at the same time. Specifically, Amy, Margaret, and Marjorie, they found some really good common responsibilities. This is your front-end analysis, your performance analysis and your needs assessment, stuff like that. That's definitely something that both HPT professionals and instructional designers do. Working with stakeholders, in this sort of profession, that's definitely something that you're going to have to do quite a bit, is working with various stakeholders to make sure that everybody's getting their word in. Completing evaluations and communicating results, definitely important. As an HPT professional, you got to complete evaluations to really help identify and drill down to what the real cause of the problem is. And in instructional design, you want to make sure that you're doing evaluations to ensure that your trainings are accurate and correct, right? Or doing what they're supposed to be doing. Implementing interventions, specifically training, instructional designers, that's their whole job, right? Implementing that training intervention, whereas human performance technologists, their whole job is identifying, okay, what are the solutions to the problem? What interventions could we do? And then I really liked the Venn diagram that Margaret created, basically saying you can't have one without the other. HPT professionals might identify training as the correct intervention, and in that case they'll go to an instructional designer, whereas an instructional designer, what's the first step? It's doing your performance analysis and your needs assessment. So really you can't have one without the other, right? However, there are some differing responsibilities that we were identified. Melissa and James, they pointed out who creates the training. When it comes to actually creating the training, it is the instructional designers. It's not usually the human performance technology, unless they are wearing both caps and doing both jobs. And because of this, their skills and knowledge are generally different. So HPT professionals are usually a lot more about problem solving, sniffing out what the actual problem is and the root cause of the problem, and then going after it. Whereas the instructional designer is a lot more about creating, designing, and developing, the training, the evaluations, and that sort of stuff. So as you can see, there's definitely some similarities as well as differences between these two professions. And I think it's good to kind of know those differences as you're kind of moving through the course, moving through the program, just so that you have a good idea of, okay, what can I apply where, how can I apply it, and what do I need to do? All right, let's move into our week 3 discussion overview. If you haven't already, make sure to go complete the pre-survey before you start diving into the discussion. This just really helps with the research study that we have going on. If you haven't already saw this, Dr. Scott posted this announcement, I do believe earlier last week. So make sure to go fill out that survey. A direct link to that survey can be found below the video. So make sure to fill that out before you get started. For this week's discussion, it is time to start applying what you've learned to a case study. Your role will be the role of an outside HPT consultant invited to help resolve the problem faced by the business. Make sure you pay attention to the needs and timelines expressed by all of the stakeholders. Specifically, this is a 2-phase process. This week you will share your diagnosis of the problem, and next week you will be able to suggest interventions. So basically what we're saying is, in this week's discussion, we don't want you to focus on identifying solutions to solving the problem. We just want you to focus on, okay, what are the causes of the problem, what are the symptoms, and we want you to ask clarifying questions. You have an abbreviated case study, and because of that, you're not going to have all the information that you need. So definitely make sure to ask questions. So basically for this, what you're going to focus on is what are the symptoms? What is it that appears to be going wrong? So what are the actual problems that you're seeing? What are the problems that the stakeholders are bringing up? What are the things that you feel need to be addressed? And then what are the root causes of these underlying symptoms? Is it that there's no incentives? Are the employees lacking understanding? Are the employees unqualified? Do they need training? Stuff like that. So make sure, identify what the symptoms are, and then identify, okay, what are the actual root causes that are causing those symptoms? And then finally, it is important for consultants to ask questions to better understand the problem and root causes. Thus, your task will also be to ask clarifying questions that would shed light onto the problem. Think about the diverse stakeholders involved in the case. The questions you ask will be aggregated and a memo will be sent out to inform your intervention suggestions due next week. So basically what that's saying is, go through, come up with a whole list of questions that you feel need to be addressed to help you identify the root cause and help you identify some potential solutions. And then what we'll do is we'll go and we'll create a little memo that answers a lot of these questions for you. We won't be able to necessarily answer all of the questions, but we'll be able to answer a good portion of them. And then next week we'll give you that memo so that you can go and use that with the case study this week to help you actually identify the actual root causes and the symptoms to help you then make a better and more informed decision about what interventions to implement. So for this, make sure to go through, read the fast food case study very carefully. Link to the case study can be found on the actual discussion board. So if you go to the week 3 discussion in the discussion forum, it's the links right there at the bottom of it. Make sure to read through it carefully. Read through it a couple times. I know that definitely helps. And then ask all the clarifying questions you need. Can you honestly really ask too many questions? Like I said, we might not answer all the questions, but the more questions you do ask, the more likely we are to actually answer your specific questions. And then as you're going through reading, ask yourself these questions, who are the stakeholders? What is the performance gap? What are the symptoms? And what are the root causes? So definitely keep these questions in mind as you're going through the reading. That way you'll have a better understanding, or you'll know kind of what to focus on as you're reading through it. Again, your initial post is due by Wednesday at midnight, so make sure to get that first post in there, and then 2 to 3 substantive peer responses by Saturday night. And this is a good one. You could suggest questions to your other peers, that they might want to ask, or you can even get some ideas of good questions to ask from them. So definitely make sure to do this. The 2 to 3 substantive peer posts. Sorry about that. Posting protocol, again, evenly distribute posts throughout the week. You guys have been doing a good job about that. 1 to 2 paragraphs in length. Avoid short responses of no substance. Again, you guys have been awesome about that. Use proper etiquette, and use citations and supporting quotes. You guys have definitely been doing a lot better at this week. Keep up the good work. And again, try to use those supporting quotes. Pull them directly from the case study. Pull them from the Stolovich and Keeps readings, as well as your other suggested and required readings. Again, here's the grading or discussion grading rubric. If you haven't taken a look at it, make sure to check that out. And as always, if you do have a question, please post it to the Ask a Peer, Ask the Instructor section. If you have a question, there's a good chance someone else in the class might also have that same question. But if you do need to contact us directly, you can contact Dr. Scott or myself at the following emails. Feel free to do so, and we'll try to get back to you as quickly as possible. And with that, look forward to seeing you guys in the upcoming week's discussion. So good luck.